3 rebounds in one game with a team that was the team that had the 7-4 and 7-3 guy on the court at one time, and he still out-rebounded them himself. I think he may have even out-rebounded their whole team in that game. But yeah, no, I mean, this was just they let a team that gave them an opportunity, like you said, and we talked about it because they did it against Miami, and they've done it a couple other times this year. They had a chance to win the game. Florida State was literally saying, "Please take this game from us," and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it, and that's just where this team, I guess, is at this point.
Yeah, the thing I'm most frustrated with is just the lack of toughness when the going gets tough. They're not mentally tough enough. They're not physically tough enough to do what they got to do to win. And Roy Williams has gotten a lot of criticism. I got into an argument with my dad yesterday about it because, you make the comment that your team's not the most gifted. You should probably adjust your coaching. And I've said some things this year that, I probably should have played a little bit more zone, should have probably called a timeout here and there. But what are you going to tell them when you call a timeout to go make a basket? There's nothing else you can do. They got good looks at the rim. They just didn't convert.
Yeah.
And it goes back to being tough. And this team's been fragile since December. And the worst thing that happened to them was the Boston College game, because any bit of confidence they had gained after beating Miami, winning at NC State, evaporated. It's done. Now you're 10-12, and your schedule heats up with Duke on Saturday. You still got to go to Louisville. You still got to go to Duke. Syracuse is playing better. Virginia's owned you for 3-4 years now. I mean, there's no end in sight. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, it's just getting through the season and just washing it away. It sucks for a guy like Garrison Brooks because he's been the most impressive guy on this team. But you got a point guard on the court that doesn't want to play through him. And Armando Bacot made some progress. 3 field goal attempts. The ball's got to go inside, especially if you're going to chunk up 10 threes and make 3 of them. And especially if you want to, 8 seconds to go, try to isolate yourself and then try to make something happen. The offense is stagnant with him on the court. It was all in the preseason, or all in the leading up to when he got injured. We were just overlooking it because he made plays against Notre Dame. We weren't completely overlooking it. We said it towards the end, right before he got injured, that this offense was Oregon,
struggling
to beat a top 5 team. But he's not the same player, and this isn't the same team. Never would have thought after the Battle for Atlantis we'd be sitting here 10-12, 3-8 in the ACC.
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew we kind of had some issues that we had to work through on the offensive end after the games against UNCW, Gardner-Webb. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that we saw this coming, and now, I mean, yeah, like I said, I mean, it's hard, to say it, but I mean, unless this team all of a sudden just does a complete 180, this team is not going to make the NCAA tournament. That's pretty much a reality. So, it's horrible. But you're right. They're just going to have to focus on next year. That's the only good thing for Garrison Brooks. He's coming back next year because he's not going to the NBA.
Every player that is not a senior outside of Cole Anthony needs to come back.
Right. Honestly, I mean, this is what I'm saying. I think you want to talk about a guy in Cole Anthony that I don't think's ready for the NBA. I think he's less ready for the NBA than Harrison Barnes was his first year, which is saying a lot.
I am more ready for him to be out of Chapel Hill than when Harrison Barnes left as a sophomore.
I never really had anything bad against Harrison. I just don't think that he was as good as the number 1 ranking. I didn't think Harrison Barnes was that bad of a player.
If Roy Williams was to bench Cole Anthony, I would not even disagree with the decision. I would completely.
Man, that's a hot take right there. That is a hot take
because he wouldn't play for me. He would have sat on the bench and just sat there. And if my team got killed, well, they'd have got killed playing as a team. not as not as 5 individuals. So,
I mean, Roy's in a lose-lose situation here. If you play Cole, people are going to criticize you because you keep him on the floor because he's selfish. You don't play him, well, why aren't you playing a guy that was rated as the number 2 overall prospect in the class? He's pretty much, either way at this point, there's no right answer apparently for Roy Williams.
And there's no right answer for this team. And that's where we're at. They're 10-12, and if they have any chance to salvage a lost season, they'll get that Saturday, 6 o'clock in the Smith Center when Duke comes to town. College game day will be on the campus to bring you that. We understand what that game is, the greatest rivalry not only in college basketball but in American sports. So we've seen crazy things happen in this rivalry. Nothing would make us feel better about how this season has gone than beating the Blue Devils. And they'll get a chance on Saturday at 6 o'clock. Anything else before we get out of here?
No.
All right.
No.
So that's going to do it for this edition of the Roy's Boys podcast. Before I let you go, let's talk to you about the HeelToughBlog.com. We are going to start really asking you guys to get in the habit of going to the website instead of trying to get our stuff through Facebook and Twitter. Our Facebook accounts have been restricted because of all the sharing. We no longer can share into these groups. So just get in the habit of going to HeelToughBlog.com. A lot of great stuff on the site. You got basketball content from the Florida State loss, my recap, Anthony's analysis, football watch. What they got to look forward to this week?
Well, so National Signing Day is today. No real big news except Elijah Burris is probably not going to sign with Carolina. He is not going to be able to qualify, unfortunately. So the class is closed. There is nobody else that they're pursuing. We've got the weekly storylines that will be going up. So we'll have some stuff in there about the big junior weekend that just happened, and also a couple other things. We'll touch on Carl Tucker going to Alabama, as well as there's a couple other storylines that you guys can check out in there. And then we're going to start getting, of course, towards draft season. And also, if you want to go over to the Heel Tough Blog podcast, we got a couple great interviews that we've done lately. Bill Bender of the Sporting News was on with us yesterday to talk about the finish to last season, and then 2020. We do have some Sam Howell Heisman talk in there, so you guys will want to go listen to that. And then we also have Langston Wirtz Jr., who came on to talk to us about Power Eccles. That one about a week ago now. So yeah, go back and check that out. But yeah. Again, we've kind of hit that time in the football off season where there's a little bit of a lull, but the good news is we're only, believe it or not, a little over a month away from spring practice. So, yeah, there's some good stuff that's going to be going out for you guys to keep an eye on.
All right, so make sure y'all guys go to HeelToughBlog.com to get all your great football content, and, of course, we'll have you covered through the rest of basketball season. And before I let you go, I want to encourage you guys to like and review the podcast. Most importantly, I want you to subscribe. We're on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio. I got to go check that. Spotify. We recently added to FM or Player FM, Himalaya. We're on every podcasting platform you can think of. Just search the Roy's Boys podcast. Give us a like. Give us a review. We'll greatly appreciate it. I want to thank Anthony for coming on here and arguing with me today about Cole Anthony and how he's ruined this season. I want to thank you guys for listening. Go Tar Heels.